thermal sound wave. It's thermal sound waves, the natural alternative to fast food radio. We here, C.Truth, Kev Lawrence. I have somebody that's joining me on the program right about now, stepping into the house. He's someone that I've known for quite a long time. I'm not even quite sure how many years it is at this particular point, but it's been a while. He is very well seasoned in the entertainment game and what he's done there, but he's doing a very special project that we're going to get into today. In addition to his background, he goes by the name of Rene John-Sandy. What's going on with you, brother?
Hey, what's good, C.Truth? How you doing, man? Appreciate the intro and appreciate you having me on your show, man. Much respect and, truly appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. So for those who are unfamiliar with you, just a brief background on some of the things you've done throughout the years.
Sure. My background, I started off doing promotional parties at the age of 16 in New York City. So throwing them at different clubs, lofts and things of that nature. And, I expanded from that from after college, started getting into college radio promotions and doing promotions for artists like Mos Def, Talib Kweli, Q-Tip, and many others. And I had accounts like Raucous Entertainment and a lot of other independent labels. And then from there, expanded to get into artist management. I had clients such as J Live, DJ Head, that was Eminem's tour DJ and also produced tracks on Eminem's albums, Pharoah Monch, Shabam Sadiq, Mr. Complex, The Mastermind, DJ Kool Marv, and others. And then from there, I bridged out to being a co-founder of Spit Kicker, which was a lifestyle company that started off doing tours with De La Soul, Common, Mos Def, Talib, Biz Markie, and we were doing successful tours, expanded to a lifestyle company. So we were doing, we had an online magazine. We were like one of the first to really do one of those online, like get into the online magazine market and selling merch. And also at that time, there was like message boards and things of that nature. So we had a pretty big following within that. And from there, I just expanded to doing what I'm doing now with Hip Hop Loves, which is a non-for-profit organization which we educate and empower youth worldwide. And we use the pillars of hip hop, sports, and arts to educate and empower youth globally.
Exactly. It's Thermal Sound Waves. We're talking to Rene John-Sandy here, entrepreneur, philanthropist as well, doing the damn thing. Hit us up, 347-454-1278. Email is thermalsoundwaves@gmail.com. Before we get into Hip Hop Loves, what was because I don't think people understand what the vibe and things were like back then when you were doing Spit Kicker, which was a monumental movement. And when you talk about some of the names that you rolled off there, as far as where they went to, where they were at the time, and then where they've gone on to be at this particular moment in life. So how was it from your perspective being involved with that and running an organization like that or being part of that?
Yeah, it was interesting. I think more so, when you're in it, you don't really see it like that, and people talk to me about this stuff all the time, like, "Oh, this is like what you did was dope." And I'm just a person that when I get into certain things, I want to do it successfully, but I'm also on to the next things as well and have other things to do in life, I think around that time with hip hop, it was just a special time. Like, hip hop was really a major influence in our society. And you see how it's grown now. Because Spit Kicker was founded in 2000. So you're looking at almost 25 years ago. Ooh. And and when you said how long we knew each other, it's been about that long too,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and it was like, some of these people were just like colleagues, and then, a friend of mine, Corey Smith, managed De La, and I was managing Pharaoh, and he was managing Kweli as well. So there was just kind of that connection, and and then some of the artists being on the same label. It just made a lot of sense to do something like that. And really the idea came about, I'd tell you, was we were all in LA at one point, just for all separate reasons, promoting, like everyone had an album coming out. And De La, Common, and Biz were on doing a little mini tour, and they were doing a show at the House of Blues. So they wanted Pharaoh to come by, so we came by. Actually, Busta was in town, Black Eyed Peas and everything. So all these artists exhibit, like all these artists just came by the show and started performing. And I'm just sitting on the side looking at this, and I'm like, wow, man, if I were, bought a ticket for the show, I'd be absolutely like enthralled, because I'm like, I'm getting way more than my money's worth for the show, and I run back to backstage after, and I've talked to Paz, I talked to Corey and Dave, and I'm like, yo, man, we really need to put this on the road and do a tour like this. So, and everyone fully agreed 100%. And that's really how Spit Kicker just started. And then we just put the tour together.
Wow. Yeah. And history was made with that, man. I remember some of those shows. Yeah. It's just incredible shows and performances. Unfortunately, we don't get things like that too much nowadays, as far as like performances with artists understanding that particular point of entertainment, like what you have to do with that, but that's a whole other story. In any event,
we're starting to agree on a lot of different levels. Yeah,
yeah. We're talking to Rene John-Sandy here on the program. It's Thermal Sound Waves. C.Truth, Kev Lawrence, of course. Hit us up 347-454-1278. thermalsoundwaves@gmail.com. Now, you made a move from the States to Brazil, Rio in particular. What exactly prompted that move for you?
So with Hip Hop Loves, I'll give a little background on that. Like I said, it's a organization we started in 2009. Myself and two other co-founders as well that are involved with it. And the first place we educate and empower youth globally. We use workshops based on the pillars of hip hop. So you're looking at MC, breakdancing, graffiti, DJing, music production, sports, any type of sports that, wherever the target market that we're doing something in, if, what the youth are interested in, and art. So actually Rio was the first place we did the workshops at, in a favela here in Rio. I know people familiar with what a favela is. Favela is just, in Portuguese, a word just for like the hood, basically.
Right.
So in the areas where there's just like a high concentration of like, I like to call it just people who have like less opportunities and, and so, yeah, more so just less opportunities. I wouldn't even say I don't want to say poor, because I don't feel like that. I think that's a mentality. Right. I feel like it's just less mentality. It's just a less opportunity. So we decided to just embark on this and do it here in Rio. And then, it went well. And it was really tough to get this together, because we were during the time of like, this is when Obama just first got nominated, and there was kind of like this little, I guess, depression, so to speak, going on, like the whole financial stuff with banks and stuff like that was going on. So it was hard to get like a lot of sponsorship for it. So we put our own money into it, and, it went well. Then we did something in Ottawa, Canada. Then we started working with the Harlem Children's Zone in New York, and we were still doing stuff in Rio, but then we didn't consistently do as much as we wanted to, just because things just started coming to our lap, like basically domestically. Mm-hmm. And but I always had a promise we wanted to make a flagship destination for this organization here in Brazil. So cut to about 2018, I came back and, I met with some organizations here, and then I was like, let's embark and start really getting this going in 2019. So then 2019 spring, I came back here. I intended to be here for only 3 months, and I've been staying here for 5 years now. I think between like the pandemic and a lot of things going on. So, just really starting to focus, and things take time. So, like it's a very different culturally, like, from working from in the States to stuff here in Brazil.
Right. Tell me about Rio itself, because I think a lot of people don't understand the life of the people in Rio. They just see like, beaches and, fun and all that kind of stuff, but they don't understand like people live there, people have regular lives there.
Sure. So Rio it's a big city. I mean, it's like the population is the same as about New York, 8 million. Mm-hmm. And but I think like space-wise it's larger. Like, just area. And, so you have like, you have everything that's similar to your big city type of things. Like you have like, where there's really wealthy areas, but there's some really areas that are impoverished, so to speak. And, favelas are like one of the areas where a lot of people who don't have a lot of opportunities are living. So, and the level of like just to put it in perspective, like minimum wage here is about 1,300 reais, which is equivalent to about close to a little under $300 a month.
Wow.
So that's what people are, minimum wage wise, and now you're looking at like a military police person makes the equivalent of about 500 a month. So, and Rio is not a cheap place to live. Let's put it to it like that. So, there's a lot that goes on with it. I mean, you have the military police and you have militias here. So there's like a lot of stuff that goes on with different wars and things like that happen between those two. It's a beautiful place. There's a lot of culture, but the line between, like, I guess if you want to say upper class and lower class, like there's a big span of difference, and there's a very small margin of middle class. So, but what we focus our programs mostly, they don't limit it to, but mostly to doing them in different favelas. And we actually opened up a center for youth in one of the bigger favelas here called Rocinha. So we've been focusing on that. We're also expanding to get outside of Rio and doing some stuff in Sao Paulo. We're doing some stuff in another state called Minas Gerais. And so, yeah, it's just been a lot. I mean, for me, it's been, learning about a new culture, bureaucracy, learning a whole new language. So it's definitely been a journey, man.
Absolutely. It's Thermal Sound Waves. We hear C.Truth, Kev Lawrence talking to Rene John-Sandy, entrepreneur and, of course, philanthropist. He has a program called Hip Hop Love that he does out in Rio De Janeiro. You know what I mean? We're international here on the show, so, we touch upon everything all over the world. Your program includes things like boxing, breakdance, graffiti, jiu-jitsu, English classes, nail designs, MC workshops, and so forth, and a lot of different areas, which I think is great for the community. How do you put all that together and include all of that in the program? Like, how does that all get laid out?
Yeah, so good question. I mean, it all depends on where it is. Like that's the stuff we're doing within the center. In other areas, it just depends on what the need is or what the request is. Like, we don't try to force people to do what you do. Like, we ask, like, what are people interested? What do you want? What do you want to do? What do you see out of it? And then we just assist and just provide these services. So it's like programming, like within when we do school, but we mostly do a lot of this stuff like for after school programs, like as after school programming. In the afternoons and evenings, some in the weekends, and So, it's just, and one of the things is we try to do is really just employ, a lot of artists and people who are trying to do stuff and, in that way, put, finance and put money into the economy in that way, especially here in Brazil. And we also do this in 4 different continents. We've been in 4 different continents. Like, I've been to Russia, we've done stuff in Haiti, UK, South Africa. We've actually done a workshop in a refugee camp in Iraq. So, we this is a global movement.
I know you said you've had some resistance and some issues as far as putting some of this stuff together, but when you do it in different places, like you said, like you've just laid out, what are some of the things some of the obstacles that you have to face when trying to put programs like this together? Anywhere, Rio, Haiti, anywhere, Israel, anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, one, infrastructure, like some of the organizations, like we like to partner up with other organizations or centers and stuff like that. So, sometimes the infrastructure is just not there, so that becomes tough. And also it's understandable, like some of the people who are running some of the organizations have their own 9-to-5 jobs. So they just try to do this on the side because they really care about the community. So, it becomes tough with that. Resources sometimes. I mean, we ourselves try to provide a lot of resources for a lot of the organizations because the organizations don't have them. And some of them don't have financing with that. So, we try to help with that too, with all this stuff. So, those are the things that become challenges. I mean, here in Rio, in addition, working in favelas, there's also, like I mentioned, there becomes like there's a lot of stuff between drug wars and stuff like that, and just territorial issues with like the police and the militias here. So, some days there might be like basically it's like a war going on. So we can't go into a favela and do the work, like, because we'll have what they call police operations, where police are invading these areas and trying to, and trying to get at some of the militias and all this stuff. So that's where it becomes kind of complex with dealing with some of these items. And there are about over 800 favelas in Rio de Janeiro alone. So even when you live in a nice neighborhood, there's favelas near you. This depends on the level of some are more dangerous than others, obviously. Just like New York, some hoods are more dangerous than others,
Gotcha. It's Thermal Sound Waves. We're talking to Rene John-Sandy, of course, organizer, entrepreneur of the program Hip Hop Loves, which is worldwide, but we're talking about the Rio de Janeiro aspect of it today here on the program. What are some of the things that you've learned from the youth there in Rio, working with them through this program?
There's so much talent here, as far as what is to do. And the enthusiasm to be involved with the programs are amazing. There's it's even when we go into some of these places, because some of the youth, we'll work with children and teens. So sometimes some of the teens are already involved in these militias, right? So just to kind of give you a scope, we can be doing a breakdance workshop, and there are some people from militia around, whatever these factions they're called, and they got AK-47s and all types of stuff around, Wow. And you see somebody, and these are teens having some of them, and grenade launchers, all that. So, but you see them wanting to kind of be involved, and it's just that's where it goes back to giving opportunity, and even some of the main. We'll work with some of the kids of some of the main people in these militias, and they respect it. It's a respect thing because they're happy that we're providing this stuff, But sometimes you got to earn that trust, because you come in, what they call, I'm considered a gringo. Anyone who's a foreigner is considered a gringo,
right?
And that's, you gotta earn the respect and earn the trust and know that, you're here for a real authentic reason. And, from what we built on from these last 14, almost 15 years, that's there. So, people don't question what our intentions are or anything like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, serious business. I don't think people understand that. If you haven't seen the movie City of God, they'll give you a little perspective on things.
Yeah.
Not totally, but it'll give you a real bird's eye view into the seriousness of what you just spoke about. It's no joke.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a good, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. That movie, and I've actually been to that favela, and we've been talking to some organizations about possibly doing stuff there. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side of it, I want to explain, there's so much, there's a rich amount of culture in favelas.
Absolutely.
Art, so I don't want to, a lot of get pinpointed on the violence or, all the things that maybe not so positive. But there's a lot of, beautiful things that come out of favelas, and it, so even the kids and all that stuff, honestly, you're pretty safe in a favela. Except and obviously if there's a war going on between the police and the militia, that's one thing. But as far as crimes and stuff like that, don't really happen. That's because that's the way they organize it in those areas. So,
gotcha.
So, just kind of give a perspective, and there's a lot of love in there, so hoods anywhere, you have some great things, but you have some not so great things that happen.
Absolutely. And you're doing one of the great things with the Hip Hop Loves Foundation and the organization, and
appreciate it.
And it's a beautiful thing, and hopefully I want to get down there one day and actually experience
you gotta come down, bro.
You're doing. Yeah, for real.
We're gonna be doing a big celebration looking at December for our 15th anniversary. So I'll keep you posted on the details on that.
For sure, absolutely.
Maybe you can come down at that time.
Absolutely, definitely. So for people who want more information on what you're doing with Hip Hop Love, let them know all the different links and socials and stuff like that.
For sure. So we have a website that's hiphoploves.net. If you want to find us on Instagram or Twitter, it's just at hiphoploves with a plural. If you want to make donations, we have PayPal, you can use the email hiphoplovesfoundation@gmail. You can just plug into that and make a donation. Aside from that, those are pretty much the main areas where you can find us and see the stuff that we're doing, the work we're doing, and you can always send a message on Twitter or DM on Instagram, and someone from our team will get back to you in regards to items. If anyone's interested, even if you're hearing this in other places, other countries, and want maybe interested in collaborating on something, we're more than happy to, have a conversation around that.
Absolutely, definitely, man. Make sure y'all support this organization. That it's international, so it's Rio, it's other places, and I'm sure it's going to spread to even more places than what it is now. So make sure y'all support that, because it's important to support youth and what they do, because that's the next wave coming up.
No doubt. Yo, one more thing I wanted to mention. You can find us on Bandcamp too. The music streaming platform. We actually have been releasing compilations, global hip hop compilations. So a lot of the compilations will have artists from over 25 different countries collaborating on different things like gun violence. We did a homage to Muhammad Ali and several other things. So check us out on there too. Just Bandcamp, you look up Hip Hop Love Foundation.
No doubt, no question, man. Listen, I want to thank you for coming on and taking some time out to let us know what you're doing with the program, Hip Hop Love. I think it's a great thing, and much success and continued moving forward with that, man.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you having me today, man. It means a lot, man. Much appreciated, brother.
Definitely. No problem. We'll catch up soon.
All right. Peace, man.
Peace. It's Thermal Sound Waves, a natural alternative to fast food radio. We hear C.Truth, Kev Lawrence.
Thermal Sound Wave.